We're going to be covering a lot of very important material here, including how to leave feedbacks, how to deal with negative feedbacks, how to do customer service, and lastly, the most important thing, how to not get kicked out of eBay, what things not to do. So let's get started and dive right into the most important section of this course itself. How to leave reviews. And reviews is vital for your success on eBay itself. So to get to reviews, all you have to do is to go into your eBay account. You press on this once, and you're going to have a lot of different kind of menus right here, which is going to be my account. And then we're going to go all the way back where it's going to say feedback and press on it once as well. Now here you're going to have two different choices. One, you can leave feedback to people who left it for you. You can look at the different kind of feedbacks that people actually gave you. There was two kinds here. There was the ones that people already gave you, which is the recent feedbacks, versus the ones that are waiting for you to give feedback back to them because they already bought something from you. The best way to do this is to skip both of those menus and to go into go to feedback form. Now, before we go into this, let me show you one more little neat trick that we have here. Say, for example, somebody gives you a negative feedback on an auction or a listing. Now, you have two different choices here. One is to leave it at a negative review, which is really not good. You don't want people to go back and see that you actually got a bad review on eBay itself, because they're less likely to buy something from you, especially if you're just starting out. So what you can do is very simple. You can go into and request feedback revision. So pressing on this menu button right here is going to lead you to a menu that looks exactly like this. And since none of my feedbacks is eligible for a revision, I can't do this because I have no negative feedbacks. Now, if you did have a negative feedback, you could go and ask them to change it. Now, the way for you to get them to actually want to change the review itself is by first off either giving them a full refund. Sometimes you might even have to pay them a little extra money to make them change their mind. For example, if you sent something that was broken and then they sent the item back for you, they might not even be happy with that. They might say, hey, I wasted my time with this product, it wasn't working, and now I'm out of the money. So you gave them the money back, and it does make them kind of happy, but still sometimes they would want a little bit extra fee here in order for them to change their review. So this could happen. It's not very likely. Most people are very satisfied if you just return their money back and the amount of money they paid for the shipping. Now, the amount of returns you're gonna get is all depending on the quality of the products you're selling, the amount of products that you're selling, and what kind of products that you're selling. So I highly suggest for you not to sell products that are very likely to break, are likely to be inferior quality, or things that most likely people don't like and they actually would want to get a refund for. So those are the products I would stay away from, and this will keep your feedback to be very positive. But on the other hand, if you're selling things that are not that good, if you do a great job in the description of what you're selling, it's very unlikely somebody will give you a bad review. So we are going back into the feedback form right now. And over here, you can go and do a few things. So what we are going to be doing here is very simple. We're going to go and leave reviews for everything that people left me. So in the feedback form, we have the feedback basics right here, which really talks about how to leave reviews and stuff like that, and the tools. That's the most important thing. Now, you can even reply to feedback received. So for example, if somebody goes and leaves you a negative review, or even a positive review, you can reply back to it and let them know your side of the story itself, especially if they decide not to revise the item. So it could happen that they give you a negative review and then you try to change it and it doesn't work. So if they don't want to actually revise the feedback itself, it is okay, because you can go back and you can ask them So if they decide that they don't want to give you a positive review, even after you tried your best, you can go into it and leave your own review for the negative review. Just give them your side of the story. Now you have to be very positive here. You have to give them a good spin, because this is not about you and that one client who gave you a negative review. It is about you and every other potential new client who is going to read this in the future, because that one client, you already lost them. They're not happy, they're not satisfied with what they bought, and very unlikely they're going to come back. So you're not trying to get back with them, you're not trying to make them happy anymore. Now that they left you a negative review, you can't really do anything about. What you could do is make every new client that comes in really happy with how you dealt with somebody who was not happy with your product. So what you're going to say is, I tried my best and unfortunately this item didn't work for them. So I gave them a refund and they still were not happy. So something in those lines would be excellent, because now it tells the new client that you tried your best, you tried to make them happy and it didn't work. It was an unusual situation. So if you have one or two of negative feedbacks and you actually dealt with them pretty good, they will be very happy. A future client will be very happy to come back and do business with you. Versus if you are going to say, this guy's a thief, he's a liar, he actually tried to scam me, or any kind of a negative thing that you tell about a potential client of yours who is not happy with your service, is going to work against you, because now they can actually respond back, first of all, to whatever you put there, and second of all, it's just going to look bad, especially if every single person who puts a negative review, you're going to respond to them with a negative message. So now somebody will think, hey, if I buy something and I'm not happy, they're going to do the same thing to me. So think twice before you actually respond like that. Here's my leave feedback reviews. Now I could only leave a positive review here. It doesn't let me leave a negative review even if I'm totally unsatisfied with my client and they totally try to scam me, they try to do whatever possible to rip me off. It doesn't matter. You can't do nothing about on eBay except report this buyer. So if this buyer made unreasonable demands, he abused the buyer protection program, he misused returns, or any other issues he had, you can report them to eBay. That's the way you can deal with it. But to leave them a negative review, that's not possible. What some people do, and I don't recommend you actually do this, is put a positive review and then spin it in a negative way. Just tell them this person was not a good client. So you could try to do this, but I don't recommend it because it's just bad business. Plus, this person can go back, buy something from you again, and leave you another negative review. But of course, you can prevent that by blocking them from coming and doing business with you again. So what I highly suggest for you to do is always to leave a positive review and to write them a message. So you will say A++ bio, which is the best way to actually say. You can have any way you want to thank them, but the most important thing you want to say to them is to come back again. So here is what I wrote right there. A++ buyer, come back again for more deals, fast payment, and great client. So you can copy and paste a message you really like and keep on putting it back there. Some people can even put their website on the review itself, which actually is against eBay terms. eBay doesn't like that, and some people do like something like this. Look, Brick Please Store, and some people even use the sell name itself and try to put .com into it, or some other sneaky way of getting people into your own website, which eBay kind of tolerates but is not really happy with. So if somebody does report you for stuff like that, you will get in trouble. So I highly recommend for you to do is to leave a feedback like the one I showed you, where you tell them how much of a great experience it was doing business with you, and then try to get them to come back to you again. Now, I highly suggest for you to do, if you're selling a bunch of items, you don't have a lot of time to deal with it. Every single time you get a review, look how many reviews I'm getting, and they keep on coming up every single time I buy or sell something. Now keep in mind, you can easily get a huge amount of reviews by just buying products. It makes no difference if you're buying something or you're selling. Now on the other hand, if you bought something, like for example I bought this item right here, now I have two different choices, and I can leave a neutral review and I can leave a negative review. That's because I bought something. So it is a whole different ball game as a buyer. As a buyer, you are in total control, and now you can tell people that, hey, this item was not good, and you can totally give them bad reviews. So that's something I don't recommend that you do, because as a seller myself, I hate getting bad reviews. I like to leave positive reviews to anyone, but I want to show you how the review menu actually looks like, as if somebody is going to leave you a bad review. So for example, if somebody wants to rate this purchase, they can say that the description of it was not accurate. So very inaccurate is 1 star. Now 2 stars is inaccurate, 3 stars is neither accurate or inaccurate, and 4 star is accurate, while else 5 star is very accurate, exactly as described. So if it is very inaccurate, you have a few choices here, and you can tell them item was not received, the quality didn't match the item description, item was damaged, item was fake or unauthorized copy, wrong item, or something else. So one thing you don't want to do is to have a fake item, and worse than that, you don't want somebody to go into it, leave you a bad review, and then report you for selling something fake. So now you might actually get banned from eBay itself. So that's a big no-no. If you think something is fake or might be, put it in the trash, get rid of it. That is the best thing you could do. Don't even try to sell it on eBay itself, because your account will be gone very fast. Next thing is item was damaged. I mean, if the item was damaged, do not sell this item. If you see that it is visibly damaged, sell it on Craigslist. Don't sell it on eBay. Or if you could fix it, try to fix it and then describe it that this item is damaged but is still workable. But now you're risking getting a bad review because you're selling something that is damaged. So think twice before you're selling a damaged item. Wrong item, this is a very newbie's mistake. They will go pack the wrong item and they ship it. Not a good way to do. So make sure when you are shipping something, make sure you're shipping the correct item. Now there's 2 ways people are shipping the wrong item. One, they packaged the wrong item and they accidentally sent it, and it happened to me actually once. And actually the funny story is I sent 2 wrong items. I actually misplaced one package and I sent one to one client and another package to a different client. So both of them received the wrong item. So I told them to go and swap the item and to send it to each other, and it worked just fine. But I don't recommend for this for you to actually happen, because it's going to cost you postage fees and some of them might get really upset. So that's a very bad way to lose business. It could happen, but try not to have it happen at all. Quality did not match item description. Now if you're selling something and you're taking awesome pictures, you're describing it, and then the item they get is totally different than the one you describe and it looks like real junk, that's an excellent way to get 1-star feedback. Don't do it. An item was not received. Now with this, it's like one thing can happen is, let's say you send something and it gets lost in the mail. That's one reason for you not to actually receive the item. Another one, let's say for example somebody buys something from you and you decide not to sell it to them. So instead of shipping it to them, you tell them that you are going to ship it, you're going to give them the tracking info, and then you don't ship anything. Very bad idea. That's one way to get another 1-star feedback and maybe get your account banned. So my suggestions, don't do it. So if you are selling something, make sure you want to sell it and make sure you're comfortable with selling it at the price that you sold it. There is no going back and saying, hey, I sold it too cheap and that you're not getting it, because that's the way for you to get banned on eBay too. So how satisfied were you with the seller communication? For example, I kept on asking questions of somebody who I wanted to buy a product from and they never responded to me. Or after I bought it, I was asking for shipping information and they never actually gave it to me. They didn't even upload the shipping to eBay itself. They just went to the post office, sent the item. This is a big newbie's mistake here, and forgot to put the tracking for it. So the buyer could actually claim they never got the item, even if they did, because now you're missing the tracking information. To top it off, eBay doesn't even know if you actually sent the item. Every time you send an item, make sure you upload the tracking so eBay knows you sent the item and the seller knows, and they can track the item's progress that's coming to them. How quickly did they ship the item? Let's say, for example, you went about and you shipped the item. So let me show you the different examples here. So very slow, slowly, slowly, no, quickly, quickly, and very quickly. You always want to have very quickly, because if you're shipping something, you want to ship it the same day if you can when somebody placed the order. The last thing you want is very slow. For example, you get a bunch of packages, people keep on buying stuff from you, you don't have time to go to the post office, a week just passes, so now you have a whole week that just passed and you haven't shipped the merchandise. So it's definitely going to be late and you're going to get a lot of bad reviews. Now, last one here is the shipping and handling charges. So let me try to go into one that actually has shipping and handling charges, and let's take a look at this one. It also doesn't have it, and the reason for that, including the seller communication, as you can see, some reviews don't have those star ratings, and let me tell you why. First off is, if you're doing a great job and you're shipping an item for free, you're not going to have how reasonable with the shipping and handling charges, because you're giving them free shipping. That's an excellent way for you to go about and remove one of the matrix that's going to review you, and it's automatically giving you a 5-star right there. How satisfied were you with the seller communication? If you haven't asked them any questions, you're definitely already getting a 5-star review automatically. That's also awesome as well. So here is an item right here that actually was sent back with a shipping fee. So if an item was sent with a shipping fee, here is what can actually happen. Here is a different menu that comes up that says how reasonable were the shipping and handling charges. So you can say very unreasonable, you can say unreasonable, unreasonable, or reasonable, reasonable, and here by not understanding what this menu even means. But most likely they will give you a good star report if they think you did a great job. So $12 for this item. It's alright, it's not the best, but it's still good. I would say maybe like 3-star for what he did, but I'm never gonna really give it to him, because if I was gonna give a positive review. But let me show you something important here. Somebody can give you totally positive review and give you some unsatisfactory rating. So you have to be super careful about this. So if you have a lot of bad reviews that are still coming as positive, you won't see your feedback score getting negative and counting against you. So just be careful with this, and you have to know that this is possible for people to give you very bad review and yet hide it under a positive feedback. So this person is actually shipping this item for an extra whooping $12 here. So you could potentially get 1 star because it is unreasonable shipping and handling charges. So for you to avoid this, you can easily go about and give them free shipping, so they can't even complain how reasonable or unreasonable were the shipping and handling charges. And to go about and try to jip them off on the shipping and handling fee, just don't do it. The best way for you is to work it into the price of the item itself. So now they can't go and complain about the shipping and handling fees. That's the way you go about with the business and how to make a very good business with anyone you're doing business with on eBay itself. So let's go into the feedback review here. So I highly suggest that when you review people, you give them the kind of review you want to receive yourself. I like to give everybody 5-star rating, and because I like to give it to them, they automatically like to give it back to me. That's a fast way for you to get a bunch of 5-star ratings for your account as well. And it's just good karma. That's what it is. It's like if you do something good for somebody, they do something good back to you. So here is the best way for you to always get fast and good and easy reviews. Make sure you tell them how fast and awesome the transaction was. Let them know to come back to you. And lastly, tell something great that they did. And that will definitely make their day very good, and your day as well. So see you in the next lecture, and stay tuned for that one.